Just waiting for everyone to connect. This Court of Common Pleas Civil Division is now declared open. The Honorable Ann M. Butchart presiding. This is a public hearing live streamed via YouTube and can be accessed on the court's website. If you do have camera capability, please turn your camera on. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. We're here for a status hearing in the matter of Khadija Sabir petitioner versus Lee Real Estate LLC as respondent. This is an Act 135 matter. Our docket is 2101-00803, and the subject property is at 6814-20 Old York Road in Philadelphia, 19126. We were last in court on August 31st, and Respondents Counsel advised the court that an October 5, 2022 zoning hearing had been scheduled, and we scheduled today's hearing to learn the outcome of that and the impact on our matter. I'm going to ask everyone to introduce themselves and identify their relationship to the case. We'll begin with counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sean Murphy, counsel for Respondent Lee Real Estate.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Samuel Ritterman, counsel for petitioner.
Thank you.
Morning, Your Honor. This is Henry Lee.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Sharon Wilson. I'm here as a representative of the Oak Lane Community Association and the RCO in this for this property.
Good afternoon, Ms. Wilson. All right. We'll take an update. I believe some documentation has been submitted by Mr. Murphy. So why don't we start with that, Mr. Murphy?
That's correct, Your Honor. Since the time of the last status conference, the zoning hearing was held on October 5th. The Zoning Board of Adjustment approved the variance. We received by email on Tuesday the notice of decision from the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and I have forwarded that to chambers. I would also like to add that this morning, Respondent's architect submitted the construction permit application. So we are now awaiting the granting of the construction permit, and Mr. Lee has communicated with the contractor, and the contractor's indicated that he is ready to begin work upon receipt of the permit.
Before we continue, I see that we have additional people in our waiting room, and I'm wondering if Mr. Bogdan could admit them and we could get their names on the record.
Your Honor, I had asked Sean Ward to attend to answer any questions you may have regarding the zoning hearing.
Thank you. Good afternoon to the people who are just joining us. We've just heard from Mr. Sean Murphy, attorney for respondent, who's advised the court and had provided documentation that October 5th, the Zoning Board of Adjustment approved the variance that the respondent had submitted. That would be Mr. Henry Lee Real Estate. I'm going to ask the four people who've just been admitted to please identify themselves by name and relationship to the case.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sean Ward, zoning counsel for respondent Henry Lee, trading as Lee Real Estate.
Thank you.
Breda Williams, chairperson, Housing and Zoning Committee of Oak Lane Community Action Association, the RCO, in the matter.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kiasha Tyson, Director of Economic and Community Development for the 9th Council District Office.
Thank you. And I think Dylan Mahoney is with us as well. Sir?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Dylan Mahoney, also with the 9th District Council Office, the Director of Zoning and Housing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Murphy, you've provided the notice of the zoning board's decision and the documentation on which it was based to the Ninth District Council and to the court. And to whom else have you provided this?
I believe only the people on the email, Mr. Ritterman, and the court, Your Honor. I have not provided it to the RCO, although I've communicated with the RCO today.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I'm sure that you'll make that available to anybody who wishes it to see it.
Yes,
Your Honor, if the court pleases, Sean Ward. I did submit the notice of decision. The normal process is that once the zoning board issues the formal written notice of decision, we submit that back to L&I through a portal called Jot Form, whereby the notice of decision is processed for permit issuance. And I am at this point just awaiting notification that the zoning permit is ready for issue. And it's my understanding the building plans are being finalized and they will be filed with the appropriate building permit application shortly.
What was the mechanism whereby you said the ZBA decision was provided to L&I?
It's called Jot Form, JOTFORM. It's a portal that L&I has that you click on it, and one of your options is board notices and decisions, and thereby it's submitted. It's uploaded through the Eclipse system that way, and that way the L&I staff can process the issuance of the actual zoning permit.
And Your Honor, I understand that the architect has actually submitted the permit application in person this morning because of some issues that he had with the Eclipse system and the status that the building was under. He indicated because the building was considered dangerous that he was not able to use the portal, but he was able to submit the application in person.
Thank you. This is commendable. We've been meeting and they've been difficult meetings. So it's substantial progress, and the court certainly appreciates the work that's been done by all the parties and the full participation of all the parties in getting to this point. I'm going to ask the petitioner's counsel what the petitioner would like to see going forward.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, first of all, we echo the court's appreciation to respondent for the work they've done thus far. It is meaningful to us and appreciated. What we are asking for the next listing, we had sort of 4 points in mind, I think. First, an actual identification of a project manager. Secondly, a specific time frame of when the work will begin. Thirdly, the scope of the work. An actual full scope of work. And fourth, the budget, please.
Okay. And you would like these to be incorporated into the court's order?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Okay. And I'll ask respondents' counsel if they have anything to respond to, or if there's anything else that they want to see the court address in today's hearing.
No, Your Honor, other than because changes were made to the drawings that were originally provided to the contractor, I understand that the amount of the value of the contract and the scope will be greater than it was originally. So I imagine we'll have to work with the contractor to get that information. So it's not immediately available, but we will get it promptly.
All right. What I'd like to do at this point is to set a 60-day date and to indicate that prior to the next court date, the respondent is to provide the following information to the court and to the petitioner, and that is to identify the project manager, the time frame for the project completion, start date and end date, the revised budget, and the scope of work. And those are to be provided at least 5 days prior to the next court date.
Your Honor, may I speak on behalf of the RCO?
Certainly.
Okay, the elements that the attorney for the petitioner identified were elements that were incorporated in the conditional approval that was made to the zoning board by the RCO.
Okay.
The actual approval was, it was approved with proviso. And there were, I believe, 6 to 7 elements to that proviso. And in the order, it indicates granted with proviso. So the identification of the project manager was a part of the proviso, the time frame, because we do not want this to languish as it did before upon approval of the zoning, and then nothing happened for 12 years. There were other elements, and so I'm not sure if the court has the elements of the proviso or not, or the actual written statement from the RCO.
We do not have the RCO statement. What we do have is the notice of decision, and we know that the Zoning Board of Adjustment, having had a hearing in the above indicated matter, has decided that the appeal is granted. The matter itself is subject premises 6814 Old York Road, Philadelphia 19126-2844. Its calendar number MI 2022-001122, and it is a ZBA permit denial variance. The permit case number is ZP 2021-013-177. And there is a note that the decision is subject to the following conditions, and that is with the proviso. Revised plans, 3 pages, stamped ZBA on October 5, 2022. And those are part of what the court has received. But in terms of what you're referring to, Ms. Williams, the court does not have any information about that. But is the RCO satisfied with the order as I've indicated I intend to sign it today?
Yes, this is Sharon Wilson, Your Honor. Just one other thing. When they do provide that information, if you could include in your order that they also send it to the RCO, I'd appreciate that. The information of project manager, when the work would begin, scope, and budget.
We'll indicate that information will be provided as well to the RCO.
Thank you.
Because Mr. Ritterman, I'm not entirely clear who your client is at this point.
And I understand, Your Honor, and I actually have been sending everything I've received, like for instance, the things from respondent, to the people you see on this call. And certainly I rest assured when I receive this information that Your Honor's ordered, Ms. Wilson and Ms. Williams, Ms. Tyson, and Mr. Mahoney will be receiving this from me as well.
And I say that because I realized that Khadijah Sabir was the named individual, but
Correct.
was in fact in that capacity as a larger representative of the community, or so I understood. All right.
Honor, I'm sorry. Could I ask just one more question? I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
At the zoning hearing, at that point, Mr. Lee was identified as the sole owner of the property. However, when we were at the RCO meeting, a person came, identified themselves as the co-owner. And we just want to get clarity. Who actually is the owner? Is it sole ownership, or is there a collective?
Your Honor.
I'm going to ask Mr. Murphy because he represents you to respond. Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the owner of the property is a limited liability company. Mr. Lee, can you indicate to the court who the members of the LLC are?
Yes, as the LLC is under Henry Lee, and which is my mom. It's more like a family operated businessman.
And so who are the members of the LLC, Mr. Lee?
It's just Henry Lee and Deb Tran.
Could you spell that name for us, please?
DEP Last name is Tran.
All right. And you've indicated your relationship, correct?
Yes,
Mother and
yes,
son?
ma'am.
All
Yes,
right.
Deb Tran, she's my mom.
Thank you.
Yes,
All right, thank you kindly.
thank you.
Let's see if we can get a date early in January to bring this case back.
Your Honor, I'm looking at Tuesday, January 3rd at 11:30 a.m. in City Hall Courtroom 453.
Let me just interject something here. The Supreme Court has determined that all of our courts should be resuming in-person appearances. And so we will no longer be convening by Zoom. Personally, I think it's been a godsend for everybody. And we've certainly been able to have tremendous community